Yesterday we read The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, and we thought about the gist, which really was a boy named William who lived in Africa, who suffered from not having access to clean water. He suffered in many ways. He was unable to eat because there was not enough water to water the crops, therefore they didn't have enough food. And then also because when the crops did not grow, they were not able to sell their crops and make money, and therefore he could not afford to go to school. So he came up with the idea from going to the library and reading and learning about different things that he could create a windmill that would then produce electricity. And then he was able to help his people to provide energy to create clean water. And he is now helping many people with this. So this is a true story, and the gist was about a young boy who found a need and did something unthinkable for the people around him. They had no idea what he was doing. He persevered, and he solved a problem for his family. We also talked about point of view. In this book, his point of view is that everyone should have access to clean water, no matter how hard it is, how much work you have to put into it. Our point of view might be different than that because we've never had to think about accessing water. It just comes to us from our faucet. So our points of view might be different, but they also are similar in the way, I bet, because many of us also believe everyone should have access to clean water. We also looked at figurative language, non-literal meanings of words and phrases, because there was a lot of fun phrases like the angry sun and personification. So today we are going to read another text. If you could get out your EL workbook and turn to page 63, we're going to read Real Lives, Angola, Africa. And we're going to think again about the same learning targets as yesterday. What is the gist? And what is some unfamiliar vocabulary as we read this? And then we'll think about the point of view as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this silently as I read it out loud. You can follow along in your book on page 63. Growing up in the Angolan village of Mabuai, 1 hour north of the capital Luanda, Fatima had to spend up to 4 hours each day collecting water from the river. It was a dangerous trek. One year, 7 of Fatima's friends were attacked by crocodiles, but the girls carried a much bigger danger back with them to the village. The water was polluted and spread disease. As a result, when Fatima herself was not sick, she had to spend many hours each week caring for sick brothers and sisters, and when she grew older, for her own sick children. I'm going to stop there after the second paragraph, and I just want to talk about a few things. Let's look at this word here, trek. It was a dangerous trek. So a trek is to travel or make one's way slowly and with difficulty. So to travel along a path like she had to do. And then of course collecting, there's the word collecting. That might be unfamiliar vocabulary for you. It's just gathering. Now thinking about these two chapters, what is it mostly about? Well, in Angola, some people have to travel up to 4 hours each day to get water, and the water is dirty, which causes people to get sick. That's the gist of this section. It's hard to get water. The access is an issue, and then pollution is a problem as well. Let's continue our work. In 2000, the Angolan government and UNICEF teamed up to lay a pipeline from the river to the community at Mabuai. Latrines, wash basins, taps, and showers were then built, together with a filtering system to ensure every drop of water was drinkable. As a result, diarrhea rates dropped almost to zero. Child deaths plummeted, and many girls who no longer had to spend hours every day carrying water entered school for the first time. A community water and sanitation committee now maintains the system and teaches hygiene to the rest of the community. A neighbor of Fatima's, 13-year-old Selena, is one of those who has started going to school because of the pipeline. Previously, Selena's life had been dominated by collecting water. She had to walk to the river and back 3 times a day. Now she can do her chores in a fraction of the time, and her younger brothers and sisters are healthy, so she does not have to care for them. So we're going to stop after these 2 paragraphs and discuss some of the vocabulary. Pipeline, that's something you don't hear every day. A pipeline is a long line of pipes for moving gas, oil, or water from where it is produced to where it is used. So that was something that was needed in their village. They did not have a pipeline. And so once that pipeline was put in, that allowed them to not have to travel to get that. So that word is important to the text. Sanitation is another word that you might not hear every day. And sanitation is the practice of keeping the public healthy by providing clean living conditions. And that is also important to the text because now their community water and sanitation committee maintains the system, and that is what keeps everybody healthy. Okay, and then I would like to talk about the gist. So in these 2 paragraphs, unlike the first 2, we hear that the government in Angola and UNICEF work together to lay a pipeline to bring clean, safe water to the people living in Mabuai. Now fewer people are getting sick from the water and more children can go to school. That's the gist of these 2 paragraphs. And then we're going to read the last 2 paragraphs. Follow along with me. Unfortunately, Mabuai remains the exception rather than the rule in Angola. Almost 3 decades of war have left millions of people without clean water or basic sanitation. A huge task remains: drilling boreholes across the country, constructing major pipelines, establishing a national sanitation education campaign, and providing water to schools. Fatima may be one of the lucky ones, but the facilities she, her children, and Selena now have are not a luxury, but a necessity and a right. A mother must take care of her children, Fatima says, but we cannot do that when we have only dirty water. So when we think of this word necessity, that is something that is needed. So you have many necessities in your life, right? Sleep is a necessity. Food is a necessity, something you must have. And a right, I like how it says that. It's not a luxury, not something that's extra, but it's a right, something that you are allowed to do or have because of nature or law. So it's your right to have clean water. And the gist of the last 2 paragraphs is many parts of Angola still do not have access to clean, safe water. Clean water is a necessity and a right. So that is really leading us to a call for action, something, what could we do to help? So we have broken this into 3 sections, looking at the gist of each one and looking at new vocabulary. So now what I'd like you to do, you may want to reread this text, but you are going to be answering text-dependent questions on pages 66 through 68. So you can skip the next 2 pages, but you'll see I've already started doing them, but here's the page, text-dependent questions. You're going to reread Real Lives Angola, Africa, and then answer the questions on these pages up through 68. Okay. Be sure to go back to the text to find answers to the questions. Think about your answers, think about your schema, and make good inferences. Good luck.